This game as black. He played a6 on move 1, and we see both players with heads on in hands there on the camera. Magnus trying to go for the surprise, of course. White reacts very classically with d4, and Magnus says, okay, I've had enough of the fun. It's time to try to transpose into the French defense. And unsurprisingly, his opponent here, Bojan Maksimovic, an IM, I believe, here, he's surprising. He's been surprised.
Yes.
It is surprising, Black's opening. He's been surprised, and therefore he's spending a lot of time just coming to terms with what to do with White.
Do you think he's just surprised, or he feels maybe a little bit disrespected?
Oh, Fiona, I would feel a bit disturbed, at least. I would flinch. I would be a bit triggered by what Magnus is doing here. A6, he's played it before, of course, in lots of rapid and blitz games, but I don't remember the last time he tried this in classical chess. It's been a while.
If ever.
If ever. Yeah.
And a6, funnily enough, yesterday Magnus was white on the playing against Ravi Haria, and that was a French, and a6 was one of the moves that you weren't so sure about in that game.
That's right, and I did ask Magnus about his French defense game yesterday, and he said his opponent Ravi's a6 move wasn't the best. He said actually he preferred other moves. He had something in his notes which I cannot reveal, but he said a6 a bit of a waste of time, and here we go. He's doing the same himself as Black. This is crazy stuff. White, of course, has lots of options. You can step forward, going to the advanced French. You can just defend this pawn with your knight in the center. You can even go for the exchange variation. And Black's a6 move isn't that useful, but it doesn't ruin anything. So Magnus clearly trying to avoid any opening preparation.
And it is working, as we see his opponent there deep in thought. Let's move on from here. Let's check in with board 2, where Raunak Sadwani is playing against Milos. 1 second for the people who might have missed it early on. This is how his game started, but later transposed to a French.
That's right, and just to show what happened in this game, White played d4 now, Black gets ready to play a French defense, and I'm not such a big fan of White's decision to play knight b to d2, not the most ambitious way of playing this position, because suddenly here Black plays the move c5, and we'll come to what happens in a moment, but just to show the French defense, one of the main lines here would be to play pawn to e6, sorry, let me get this, pawn to e6, d4, d5, knight d2, and a6 is actually one of the most well-respected moves for Black, a bit of a waiting move, and c5 transposes exactly back to the game, well-known theory, known to be fine. And okay, instead, not trying to punish his opponent, let's catch up with the current position. Okay, Black has the bishop pair, slightly imbalanced pawn structure, White with the queenside majority, Black with the kingside majority. I call this the fortress, the castle here. When Black has this pawn structure and a dark squared bishop, it's so hard to break through.
How is Magnus hoping to work his magic here? Is it mostly just the bishop pair?
I think the grind is real. Fiona, I think he would love Magnus Carlsen to trade off the rooks, trade off even the queens, and long-term Black's bishop pair should be slightly superior to the bishop and knight. Also long-term, if Black's king is safe, it's much easier to push Black's kingside majority than it is for White's right now. You can push a pawn to c4, but that structure is never going anywhere. But f5, e5, e4, it's easy to see this going wrong for White. And I think body language clearly favors Magnus right now, and the clock times.
Absolutely. I was just going to say only half an hour for Bojan Maksimovic, and I predict long suffering ahead. So let's check in with the rest of this match. Let's go to board 2.
From his body language, Magnus Carlsen, he looks very focused right now. But
I've stayed maybe 10 minutes with the president of the federation to see, and sometimes he's going to stand like this. It's very, very important to see this big champion, you know, being
One place to start. Magnus Carlsen on the Black side against Bojan Maksimovic. And David, just before I let you take over for the chess part, I saw in the chat a certain Savo Maksimovic was writing, I don't know if that's a brother or a relative, but he was saying that Bojan is actually a regular student at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, 3rd year, and he does not have a coach. He only plays chess for the love of the game. And imagine being one day in uni, the other day playing Magnus Carlsen.
yeah, incredible juggling that. It's a chance of a lifetime for a lot of these players, of course. This tournament is perfect for that. And he's putting up a good fight here, Fiona. He's done extremely well so far. He's held the balance, reacted to that surprise of 1a6 early in the opening very, very well. And you could tell on Magnus's body language, it's not going to be easy. This one is going to be a long fight. I think we might be here for another hour or two as he takes on the world's #1 player. So Maksimovic right now is struggling slightly. I think we'll try to get the live board working in a moment. Maybe we whiz ahead because there have been a couple of results as well in this Opperspiel match.
Yeah, while we were gone, Raunak Sadwani on board 2 actually won his game. But yeah, so can we see?
We do see just the final position at the bottom of your screens, where Sadwani did have an extra piece as White's knight in the center, guaranteeing a victory, and Black resigning. So currently, Elfrischspiel do lead 1.5 points to half against them.
Welcome back. Our apologies about that. We're gonna jump back into Magnus Carlsen's game right now to see what is going on there. And David, over to you.
Yeah, Magnus Carlsen has got the type of position he really enjoys, or at least he used to enjoy when he was a lot younger. But we are going to be here for the long haul because it's a long grind, no decisive advantage. White has a solid position as Magnus does aim to slowly tire out his opponent. Black has a small long-term strategic advantage. It's what we call a 2-result position, where Black is probing away, White just fighting for the draw right now. If he defends well, it feels like Maksimovic might be able to hold, but it is Magnus. He has a huge time advantage, and Fiona, we're heading towards that moment in the day where the clocks play a huge role. Yeah,
in this game it might not play a huge role for much longer because it is move 39, so only one move to go here. So Bojan, one more move to make, and then he can breathe a sigh of relief. The position will still have to be defended, but I think so far he's doing a great job.
So far he's doing a great job, but there is one big threat in the position. Magnus now, if it were his move, would be able to retreat his queen to b8 and actually trap the white bishop in the corner. So queen to b8 would have caught this bishop, but now with this last retreating move, a square has opened up. A really nice defensive move again, and actually you called it, Fiona. I assumed there were more moves to make, but he has made that magical move 40. 3 minutes on the clock, and he survives to tell the tale right now. Yeah, it's all about these black bishops. Black's bishops are ready to pounce, especially this piece, the uncontested dark squared bishop. I just wonder whether Magnus will kind of at some point go for glory with pawn to f4, whether he needs to prepare that slowly. And it's still gonna, I think this one is gonna be a 60, 70, 80 move game, the way it's going. Magnus really trying to grind this one out against sturdy defense here.
And let's return now to Pranav. We just came from there before Kate. He did pass the time control, so plenty of time now. We'll come back to this match in just a moment, but we're gonna go back first to Richard Report on board 1 against Rauf Mamedov.
Yeah, and
hello and welcome back. Our apologies about leaving you so abruptly earlier. The time control has been reached and we are back with Magnus Carlsen. And David, you were just telling me during the break that Magnus might have a winning shot here.
I think so. We've jumped back in at a critical moment. Magnus doesn't look too energetic right now, but he has a really energetic move to finish this game. And I think just the fact as well that his opponent only has 4 minutes left on the clock, no more added time later on. We've reached the final time control. I think all of these factors combined should be decisive. And it's the only winning move, but it's clearly what Magnus has been setting up with his last few turns. Black's king a couple of moves ago came to h6. Black's bishop just parked itself back on e8. And this all adds up to the conclusion that the idea of g5 is what Magnus wants to do. White's last move, pawn to c4, looks like it attacks a pawn, but this can be ignored. And g5 here would be super strong with the idea of bishop to h5, attacking the white queen next. For example, if pawn takes pawn, the bishop comes out, and this is simply devastating. Not only do you attack the white queen, but when she moves, we will see checkmate very shortly. The two bishops, the black queen, all combined, and this is just game over, Fiona. For example, king back, queen takes pawn even, and a nice checkmating attack due to the pin.
Very nice. Maybe we can go back a few moves to see where things went wrong. Bojan was always under a little pressure, but somewhere things seem to have taken a turn for the worse.
Yeah, we last kind of left this game at move 40, where white had just retreated the knight, and I was praising this move, giving the white bishop a escape square. The bishop looks a bit odd behind enemy lines here on a8, almost trapped. Magnus now played bishop to c5, and after the move bishop to b7, I think already a step in the wrong direction. Things started to get even worse for white. King to h6 set up this sneaky plan, and I'm not sure whether it's on Maksimovic's radar, this g5, bishop e8, bishop h5 maneuver. He just continued to wait. Maybe he needed to take some action, and just the waiting game against the top players in the world just doesn't work now. Fiona, as mentioned, g5 would be decisive. The only way to stop it is g4. I think this is what Magnus is calculating. And now the only thing left to do is the Fiona attack. So how can Black set this up?
Bishop b.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. That's a better way to do it. Queen f4. I wanted to bring the bishop back to c7, but bringing the queen to f4 is a lot more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, something like this. Either way, setting up a battery on this diagonal. And I think this should be game over. For example, we mentioned queen to f4 as the most powerful move. Big threat if white gets distracted of playing bishop to d6. Okay, the evaluation bar says there's something even better, but this is decisive anyway. The black queen is about to come in via h2, and this white king will not survive for too much longer. You can't prevent this. And I'm just wondering what Magnus is calculating here. Is he maybe concerned about the white knight hitting this black queen? Where would the finishing blow be here? This is still, it's not entirely over.
Some work to be done.
Some work to be done. Oh, wow. Okay, I think I see it. And it's not actually to do with going for checkmate anymore. Now that the white knight has re-entered the center, it's taken away an escape square for white's bishop.
Oh my goodness, queen b8.
Oh, no. I eat my words. This looks like it just wins a piece, but maybe white has a counterattack on the black king. Oh, this is such an irrational position. This is why Magnus is pausing.
Yeah, I was gonna say we understand better now that even though g5, that move looks kind of natural, the follow-ups are not easy to calculate.
Far from easy. I think the only kind of saving grace for Maksimovic is g5 can be met by g4, stopping bishop h5, and this is the position in Magnus's mind. This is maybe why he's getting a bit frustrated, and definitely calculating face on there for Magnus Carlsen.
Yes, plenty of time, still 45 minutes on the clock. I think we'll leave Magnus for now. We'll come back to see what he decides on. Let's check maybe the end of Pranav's game. It was such a masterpiece, and g5 when we last checked in. Wow, this has changed a lot.
This has totally evolved this position, but Magnus Carlsen still is winning, and we might even see a result in the near future. Let's do a quick recap. we last left the position here, and Magnus didn't actually go for the move g5 that we were expecting. We thought black's bishop would come round, and this would have been a huge attack. Maybe just unsure what to do if white blocks the kingside with a move like g4. Magnus instead entered with the black queen. We saw white's bishop drop back. A mistake according to the computer, but a really tough position to defend for white with no time on the clock. Now g5 comes with added effect, and Magnus transitions into an endgame. Typical grinder.
Yep.
Not going for checkmate, instead just trying to utilize the bishop pair. And when the queens came off, unfortunately the white king is the only piece that can come back in time to stop this pawn. But this allows another pawn to drop. White's bishop overworked, defending its knight, no time to take on c4. And yeah, if we whiz ahead, Fiona.
Yeah, a lot more moves have happened, but we're getting close to the conclusion of this game with Maksimovic not only having a lost position, but also no time on the clock.
Yeah, beautiful move. Bishop takes f2. Again, deflection tactic. The white king has to take this pawn. It has no time to take the bishop. White tries to save the king side first, but now it's actually everything dropping. This pawn running as well. And let's catch up with, whoa, Magnus Carlsen showing off here, flexing bishop to f7. Deflection yet again, asking this bishop a question. If bishop takes bishop, of course, black would make a new queen. So the white's bishop forced to retreat, and after a simple drop back, now the queen side falls as well. He's going to have pass pawns aplenty, and this one in its final stages.
Yeah, bishop c6 is on the board. I guess Magnus is just going to collect.
Where is the window after bishop takes pawn? Suddenly white can maybe come back and take on a4.
And now we push the pawn.
Pushing the pawn, and the white king would be just in
Oh
time
my
to
goodness,
stop.
I've managed to mess it up already. That's impressive.
Yeah, Magnus though, he won't let this one slip, and he
No.
actually does the same idea just in a different order. After bishop to c6, he throws one of his two g pawns away. Now king f2 would not work because of a check. And really nice technique here. He gives this pawn up for the more valuable white a pawn, and now bishop c5 a winning threat. Two pass pawns. This one looks over, Fiona.
Yeah, I'm looking at the player camera, and we see Pranav there in the background after his masterpiece. He has stuck around. I imagine we might see a resignation in this situation with Maksimovic only seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and you can see on his body language, he knows this one is gone. All hope out the window after that nice last tactic from Magnus Carlsen. It's just incredible in the endgame, finding all these resources, utilizing the bishop pair. This is a really instructive example of how they're best use the bishops. And Magnus now, he'll just coordinate pushing the g-pawn with pushing the a-pawn. And okay, playing on to the end. Give us entertainment, Maksimovic.
Funnily enough, we just saw the arbiter bring new score sheets. Is this move 60? One more move to go. If you're Maksimovic, do you do this sometimes? I must think, I don't really want to use a new score sheet if my position is lost. Do you do that? Or?
I have done that occasionally, tried to grind down an endgame, but my opponent's defense holds firm. Move 60, save the trees, save the environment, save the paper, and offer a draw. But I think this will be a case of it being the appropriate time to resign. Black's a-pawn is just going to march.
Both players, so Magnus looks like he's ready to accept the hand, but another move was made here, bishop d5, maybe a last attempt, but Magnus just goes for the exchange, and the new score sheets will come out.
Oh, not respecting the environment here, the players. One black pawn will paralyze the white knight. I'm expecting Magnus to push the pawn to a3 now, and while the white knight is distracted, black's king will happily guide down its g-pawn. Yeah, this one is quite straightforward. Actually, you could pretty much just imagine that these three pieces aren't on the board, and black is simply winning this king and pawn endgame. The queen side irrelevant. It's all about the g-pawn now.
Yeah, and when and if this game ends, Magnus will actually be the one to bring the winning point for his team Offerspiel, who are currently in the lead 2.5, and there he goes. The a-pawn is running down the board, and this game now really in its very final instance.
Yeah, two moves here for white if you want to prolong This endgame, knight back to b4 would have been one. We showed that was winning, and okay, we see a handshake. Magnus Carlsen.
On move 61.
Oh, on move 61, Magnus Carlsen takes the victory.
Congratulations, what a game by the world champion. He opened today meeting 1e4 with 1a6, but then turned it back into a French, and with his win, Team Offerspiel continue with their winning ways. The last two boards are irrelevant, although both players, I think CARLSEN on board 6 pressing. We can come back there a bit later. I think we're going to focus now on the match Super Chess against Gashimov that is currently tied 1.5, 1.5. So 3 games remain there. And